If you're thinking about moving and you want to learn about what everyday life is going to be like in your new town, this is the place for you. On Open House, we sit down with local, top producing real estate agents to help you find the best places to live in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you don't want buyer's remorse and you want to find your dream town, we are here for you. So go ahead and book a free call with us and we'll help guide you to the area that is right for you. Now, let's jump in and learn about your new home.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Open House Real Estate Network. I'm Mike, and today we're going to be talking with Katina Armstrong, a local resident and expert in the city of HENRICO, Virginia. We're going to be covering everything from homes to entertainment. So, Katina, thanks for coming on with us today. To start things off, how long have you been in real estate?
I've actually been selling since early 2000. So
you're a vet.
I'm a vet. Been doing it for a while.
You're the four-star general of real estate equivalent. Yeah.
Yes.
What got you into real estate?
So actually, prior to us moving here, so we moved to Richmond, Henrico County, in 1997. And when we made that move, prior to, we had actually did some real estate development. Kind of dabbled in it from a buyer side type thing, buyers and sellers. So when we moved to Richmond, I actually sold a business that I had there in Maryland and took a little time, but through the process of buying here, it was amazing to me that the agents that I was working with through a relocation program just were not good listeners. And so it was one of those things where my husband actually, of course, said, Kat, this is your jam. You're a great listener. You can talk with somebody, hear what they want, not what you want to sell them, that kind of thing. So I was like, you know what? I think you're right. So got my license, joined a small firm, kind of dabbled part-time a little bit, and then probably went full-time once my youngest was in middle school. And so it's a great mom profession, except for weekends. You definitely miss out on some games and stuff, but it's been a great opportunity to be out there. And of course, now my kids are grown and I've helped them buy property, and I'm just a big person on really real estate as an investment portfolio, and it's something that everybody should do.
With the nature of the area kind of surrounding Richmond, what would you say the kind of median home price is?
It goes everywhere. The medium, I want to say, last I looked, is like $358, which is crazy, right? Because before, when I first started, it was probably like $250 to $275. But if you look at broad-based, but in the little niche that I was going to talk about today, which is the West Ham area, the average on most of those homes are about 600,000, like 620, and they're not big homes. They're like 2,000 square feet homes.
We've noticed a lot of, especially those areas that are city adjacent, where you're not in the city, but you're close enough. That seems to be roughly the going rate,
Exactly.
Just across the board.
Yes. Well, and because you get to pay county taxes, which is probably like 96 cents a thousand. Whereas if you jump over that city line, which literally West Ham is a block away, you're paying city taxes, which is usually about 220 to 226.
Oof.
So, that's a huge lifestyle, huge.
Oh yeah. And I think that's, even more motivation for people to kind of make that move, and especially with the if we're to turn this into a life gives you lemons situation, the entire COVID thing allowed people to kind of spread a lot further away from their places of employment. So you see a lot of those people hopping over those county lines, getting a little more distance out so that they can have their peace and quiet, and ending up with more home for the same dollar amount.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So
Great value.
I would guess that you probably have a lot of people commuting into the Richmond area, for work.
I would say there's not, I don't know a lot of people commuting, but I do know, I do have some clients that have actually moved from Northern Virginia and they're commuting back that way to work. Not so
Mm,
much in Richmond, but back, opposite direction. Not a lot though, because now work from home. So you
yeah.
don't see that. And then just the huge Fortune 500 companies that are here now, like CarMax, DuPont. I mean, there's huge companies here that a lot of people, especially in this West Ham area, work for, and they either work from home or they'll drive, and it's like 5 minutes. So
So I would imagine that there's a decent cross section of homes available when you talk about that kind of price range, be it single family up to townhomes. And I'm sure if you head west a little further, you probably have some larger plots of land and things of that nature.
we definitely can, in the Henrico area, if you're just talking that, it definitely offers anything from townhomes to big mansions. Now, what's interesting is this West Ham area, and the only reason I'm kind of focused on that today is because I just, after 6 months, mind you, 6 months with first time home buyer, we finally won a contract. I think we put in 10 offers on a home. And what's interesting is even with the higher interest rates, even with, the uncertainty of things, there is still that demand in this 123229 zip code area, that, we still had to give, their hopeful firstborn child in order to be able to win the deal. It was pretty excruciating, but it was one of those things that's the area they wanted to be. They wanted to be able to walk to restaurants and food, and then if they wanted to drop downtown, they could Uber very easily and cost effectively. So you definitely see that magnet that pulls a lot of young executives, um, families. So most of the homes in the West Ham area are, and I think it rates like in homes in Virginia and in the United States, like 98% of them, or actually it's 100%, are all detached single family homes. I mean, these homes were built, right after World War II, so they're older.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been updated or added on to, renovated, that type thing, but it still has that little slice of America, that little hometown kind of feel with really cool streets and walkable restaurants and grocery store and bike and
I will say
very
from a personal standpoint, that's always my kind of favorite conglomeration of things is the outward aesthetic being older and a little more dated and have that kind of feel that you're talking about of like, wow, like, you're back in time a little bit, but then
right.
having all the accoutrements of a new house that you want on the inside.
Definitely. And in that area, and just about anywhere, I would say, in Henrico County, you're definitely, you do some updates, because a lot of the home that we had moved into would be 1997. We were in it for the longest we've ever been in a home, 19 years, and, had to renovate the kitchen and, bathrooms and that kind of thing and paint, but totally made it back, threefold. So it's a really nice area that a lot of people do transfer to.
Yeah.
We definitely have a lot of people that come. I've seen more and more people coming from the Midwest here, which is interesting because I know the cost of living probably is a lot different here, but with work being able to, work out of your home and that type thing, it definitely appeals to a lot more people lately.
Yeah,
Um,
the not really small town, but that just smaller town feel is something that just has been so important to people now, where it kind of wasn't before. You had a lot more, I got to be in the city because I got to be where all this stuff is. I got to be where the places to work. And now it's like, okay, like you could be, the big thing is we see people who, used to have to live within a close proximity because they were commuting, now have basically pushed back, and they get so much more distance because it's like, okay, well, now I go into the office twice a week. So I'm okay
Yeah,
with making 2 times the commute to be able to come back to a place I really want to live,
exactly.
and there's that push of, feeling like you're in a community, a neighborhood where your neighbors. That type of feel is just, I think, something people are putting a really big premium on right now.
I agree. I agree. And the cool part of Richmond, like when you were looking at the map, you saw how Henrico kind of circles most of that, borders the city. But if you wanted that type of living, I mean, you've got Goochland, Powhatan, all of these areas that are high dollar land values, but can give you a feeling of country. And then you just hop on 64 and you're downtown working in 10, 12 minutes. Not that far. So
Yeah, that's kind of one of the cool things about Virginia in general is
yeah,
the how quickly you can go from a cityscape to a countryside in no time at all.
no time. And then also, if you want to go skiing, you're literally an hour and a half to Wintergreen, go a little further to Massanutten. You want to
Yeah.
go to DC, you go up, catch the train, at King Street, takes you down the mall, easy peasy. Want to go to the beach? Virginia Beach,
No,
York Beach, you
you,
know,
you know it, it's having everything at your fingertips, but being able to come home.
right. Yeah.
It's when I was younger, I had that kind of like, I want to live in the city. And I grew up and I lived in the city, and I said, I never want to live in the city.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what my kids did. They came home from school, they all rented with friends downtown, in the cool Shaco Slip, all around that area. And they did that for about 6 months, and then they were like, "We need to come home and save some money."
That was nice, but I
Yeah,
think we all learned something here.
you
And,
did.
and especially when, in Virginia, you're so close to everything.
Yeah,
There's nothing you can't do. Like you
yeah,
said, you've got Virginia Beach there,
yeah.
so you've got beach access. You drive to the west, you've got mountains, you've got beautiful hikes, countryside.
Mhm.
Another
Skyline
thing that,
Drive.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got Skyline Drive. Another thing I undervalued is Virginia wine. Actually good.
huge. I think there's 27 on the wine trail as you go towards Blue Ridge Mountain up towards Wintergreen area, Afton Mountain. Yeah, it's like 27. I mean, you could spend, you know, all day.
Yeah.
So
Entire
that,
weekend.
and then the
Maybe
craft
far too long.
breweries. Yeah, craft breweries are amazing. They're all over the place. Definitely, I would say, the foodie part of Richmond in this area, not even in the counties, has exploded. I mean, we've got some in Henrico County, we got Peter Chang. I mean, who really?
Yeah.
We're not Northern Virginia. We're not New York.
Yeah, exactly. We're not Arlington. Like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
But I often kind of, I feel like that kind of area, that like Richmond area, is kind of got, to me, as someone who's been to both a few times, it kind of has like an Austin, Texas kind of feel to it, where it's like you're seeing everything maintain this level of kind of like down to earth, chill. Everyone's here to have a good time. The quality of all the product is going through the roof. That kind of, I wouldn't say hipster as much in the Richmond area, but that kind of just like trendy, like now there's vineyards. Now we've got these restaurants popping up that are incredibly good, and it's just things you kind of wouldn't expect around here. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's this like a cultural kind of renaissance thing happening in that area.
it really was. And pre COVID, I mean, it was at its top level. I mean, we had two or three films done here. which was amazing. Some, TV shows and stuff. So it definitely is bringing in people from Atlanta, California, is kind of hubbing into this Richmond area.
Then you have to hope that like just the right amount of people find out, because you don't want to get too many people. Like,
Yes, because I will say I just was in Austin last week visiting my youngest, and he moved down there for that kind of same reason, where Richmond's a little smaller, but Austin definitely a bigger city, big music place. And so I would say Richmond's by far much better because the traffic is like DC traffic. I mean,
yeah.
it is nuts. I couldn't believe it. Anywhere that we went, there was traffic. So I would definitely say Richmond's got a little edge up on that on Austin.
Pace is a little slower. Yeah, exactly.
Their little
But
trademark of keep Austin weird. I love it. I mean, it's just so funny. Like the people are just so interesting. But you definitely have your southern type of feel in Richmond, even though we're close to DC and Washington and Pennsylvania and stuff. We still have that southern kind of everybody waves as you're
yeah,
going down the road.
that as someone who's from Maryland, that's a very strange thing. I'm like, I don't know,
Mhm.
this person was just
Yes.
nice to
Why
me
are
for
they
no
waving
reason.
at me?
It's really making me uncomfortable. I
Uh-huh.
live too close to DC for this to be acceptable for me. Like,
Uh-huh. Yep.
so
It took some.
another thing I know that is a big driver for people making decisions as far as locations of where they're buying, is education, and is the knowing the type of education that the children are going to get. So what does the school system look like in that area?
Well, in that specific area, it's what's called Tuckahoe area, and very small Tuckahoe Elementary, Tuckahoe Middle, and then you've got Freeman High School. The schools here are, I mean, public schools are amazing, and then they have probably about 6 to 10 private schools, going from Montessori type thing all the way to your collegiate. The funny part about for me is having 4 children, kind of gone through all the school system. I've hit just about every school because we've new schools would open, the lines would be changed. I had one that went to from public to private girls school, all girls school. I had another that went to Trinity. So take it back, Stewart School. What's really interesting is the school situation really starts at the pre-K level. I mean, it's amazing the amount of um, facilities, schools, what you want to call them, that start great programs early on. 3, 4-year-olds all the way up, and now having grandchildren in those different areas. It's amazing culture, amazing lifestyle. And then what was really cool is when my kids graduated from high school here, they all went to Virginia colleges. I had one graduate from JMU, one from VCU, one from Radford. Um, so keeping everybody kind of close to home, I never really thought about that. But now looking back, it's like, I'm so glad we made the decision to move here because it definitely provided my kids with an amazing childhood, and school opportunities, and then work opportunities, which has been, they've all been really successful in that area as well.
Yeah, it's
So
like
definitely offers a lot.
there's like just enough distance for them to feel like they're getting away from mom and dad without really
Exactly.
getting away from mom and dad.
Exactly.
They're still within that like sphere of influence. But I
Exactly.
know that especially as you get away from the city, I think you just intrinsically see a better school systems on the
Yes.
whole, simply because
Right.
your teacher to student ratio goes down, and it's just inherently going to be better for all parties involved, which I think is
Exactly.
another reason that you see that influx of people going, we'd like to be a little more on the perimeter, thank you.
Right.
because it
Yep.
just kind of feels like there's no aspect of your life where it isn't like, oh, this is better. This is better. So if you could give someone thinking about moving to the area a piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I think the most important thing when somebody is moving new to an area is really honestly, I like people to rent for a little while. Get familiar with the area because there's just so many different pockets. And a lot of times you don't know exactly where you want to be. So we have a lot of, 3 months, 6 months opportunities here that you could fall into something. Definitely take your time. Just because, like I said, I mean, you've got Chesterfield, you have Hanover, you've got Powhatan, the Richmond area, which is amazing, all of the Henrico County that borders up to the city. So definitely take your time. If you have children, visit the schools, get some information about that. It's kind of what I did. So I actually figured out where I wanted my children to go to school and then what neighborhoods fed into that school system.
Mm.
It kind of honed things in for me, when I was trying to make that decision. And that's kind of what sets me a little bit apart from a lot of agents is I'm very patient and I want to make sure, just because real estate has been so good to my husband and I, and we've been a part of it since we got married in 83, and have learned so much that I feel like take your time. There's no rush. Sometimes it is a rush, and I can probably help you work that all out. But if you have a chance to kind of, do a long stay vacation, like you said, and let's get out there and figure out exactly where you want to be, rural, suburban, city, we've got it all.
I think people, especially people who are new to the home buying experience, I think they kind of undervalue how important the connection you have with your real estate agent is.
Right.
And I think they kind of look at it like, oh, well, they're just a salesperson to facilitate this. And it's like, no. Like, you need to have a connection with this person. This person needs to be, very aligned with you as far as what you're looking for, the things that you need, the things you require. And
Right.
I think a lot of people don't realize how important a good agent is until they have an interaction with a subpar agent and they go, well, that was weird.
Right. Yes,
And
there's a
then
lot of defining things that come, especially having done it for a long time, and then just, personally, been involved in a lot of stuff that I'm able to bring that, to the table.
thank you so much for enlightening us and sharing your knowledge of the Enrico area with us. And we really appreciate it. I think we all learned a decent amount today. And if you're thinking about moving to the area and you're looking for someone to facilitate your next home buying experience, make sure to check out Katina's information below, and I am sure that she will help you get that accomplished.
It's great. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.